Hey guys, welcome to the Simplify Your Life podcast. It's Coach Simona and I'm glad you decided to tune in. What's up everyone? In today's podcast episode, we're going to talk about accepting your dark side. And I will give you my 4 tips on how to embrace your dark side. Now let's jump right into it. Let me paint you a picture. Remember that time you wanted to act rational, but something took over you and you just couldn't help yourself. That time when you offended your child, lost your temper at work, or broke your diet and went on an eating spree. That's your dark side, also called shadow self. Your shadow self is that deep and dark place inside of your own mind. It's the place of fears, issues, and repressed experiences from your past. The one you refuse to admit even exists. But until you accept it, it will continue to take over. So in today's podcast episode, we will talk about your shadow self and how to not let it get in your own way. My first tip is to actually realize what your dark side really means. Here is what your dark side, also known as the shadow self, means, according to Carl Jung, one of the most prominent psychiatrists and psychoanalysts of all time. The shadow self is an archetype that forms part of the unconscious mind and is composed of repressed ideas, instincts, impulses, weaknesses, desires, and embarrassing fears. In other words, your shadow is that dark part of yourself that you don't really want to associate yourself with. Now, what are you supposed to do with your dark side? Here comes my second tip. As counterintuitive as it may seem, the only way to deal with your own darkness is to accept it. By suppressing your thoughts, desires, or fears, you create a shallow self that you present to the world which is not entirely you. Think of it as a better version of you that you can't really keep up with. Because at the end of the day, you're human, just like everyone else. Now, the persona is the face you present to the world, your ideal self, the way you want to be perceived by other people. If you focus on fitting the quote-unquote perfect part of you, you will inevitably fail. This will happen because you can't develop only the presentable part of yourself. You have to accept both sides of the coin. But how exactly are we going to do that? Knowing yourself is the best way to achieve success, happiness, and peace in your life. By acknowledging the dark parts of yourself, you open the door to your deepest fears and negative experiences in a way that sets you free. Accepting your shadow self is the only path to self-love. You can't love the parts of yourself that you find suitable and discard the ones that you wouldn't want to be associated with. Realize that you need to appreciate and accept every little detail about your personality and appearance. One of the things I tell my clients is to take a good look at themselves in the mirror. Not judging, not trying to change anything, just observing the person who's looking them straight in the eye. This person is the most important and valuable person in the whole world because they create their own reality. Another technique is to make a list of all the things you don't like about your personality and try to reframe them in a positive way. It's all about the perspective. Let me give you an example. I hate myself for getting angry easily and fussing about stupid things. Can be substituted with, I am temperamental and sensitive, and sometimes I become easily irritated. I accept and love myself as I am. There are a lot of ways to accept your dark side. We're all different from each other, and unfortunately, there's no such thing as a universal formula to change the way you perceive yourself. Now, how will you know when you've made it? One of the best ways to tell if you're getting there is to be honest about your feelings. If you experience negative feelings and you're conscious about what provoked them, it's safe to say that you're aware of your dark side and don't try to hide it anymore. Another sign of it working is that you don't fall into the old negative thought patterns and you're aware of your cognitive biases. Actually, if you haven't listened to the previous episode on the most common cognitive biases, I will leave a link below. And I also have a free cheat sheet for you guys, so you can download it in the links below. Or simply visit bit.ly/15biases. Each and every one of us is different, but there is one thing we have in common. When you accept your dark side, you feel better about yourself, your confidence is improved, and you change your perspective towards life. The moment you realize that life is neither good nor bad, is the moment you will start taking responsibility for your own actions. And finally, accept yourself. Now, I want to hear from you. How do you deal with your dark side? Have you accepted it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode, please like it and subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss out on my weekly podcast episodes. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in the next one.